Alright, it's the third and final episode. As you can see, I overwatered because there's water collecting in that bottom watering tray. It's day 188. I'm adding clay dirt to amend the poor performance of the potting mix. In my opinion, that's the reason why the root system either isn't healthy or is it not working. Maybe it's dying. I don't know. This foliage has a tendency to just stay green forever. And there has been a little bit of dying back on the bottom and from the very tips, and the older ones don't look that healthy, so it has succulent leaves that will just stay green forever and ever. So that's not really a good indication of what's going on. It's really tough with this plant compared to other plants. So I'm hoping, as with my raspberry cutting series and some other plant series, that by adding some wild clay dirt, I was calling it clay loam in the other series on top. I'm sure these wild weeds will grow back as I put them in there and start watering again. That this will percolate down in there when I water from the top, and then that will provide for a lot of nutrition, increase the surface area of contact with the root system, and make the nutrients and water in the potting mix particles more accessible to the root system. So this should take off after a while if my theories are right, but unfortunately, as you can tell from the title, it's got the word finale in it, so it's pretty much the end. That means it didn't work, and you could easily tell from the thumbnail, of course. So it's day 197, and I added a second, much bigger helping of this clay dirt, and I'm thinking if this doesn't work, nothing will. It's worked for my other plant series, so why not this one as well? Overall, this plant series has been very boring, admittedly. Not much is going on. It's akin to buying an investment and seeing it go nowhere, neither up nor down, for thousands of years. So it's day 223. I decided to cut my losses because this has been running for a long time. I moved to a new apartment. This is a new balcony. It's a lot roomier. You can see the clay loam, the clay dirt on the top away from us, and the blackened, rotting potting mix, which turns that way after a lot of watering, after just being wet for so long and buried like that. So I was surprised to find out that the root system was very, very shallow. It seems not to have developed much beyond the initial few days, day 2 actually. So that's pretty pathetic, and as you can see, I buried the funnel, the base leaves, pretty high up, more than an inch, maybe 4 centimeters, something like that. Maybe it's just 3. But anyway, this thing has not developed at all, and because of the leaves' properties as succulent leaves, they just don't have the appearance of dying. They're not giving off signals, so this series would have ended a lot earlier if I had known this had happened, but you never know what's going on until you do an autopsy of the root system. So as you can see, this potting mix is nice and loose, and it does have some redeeming qualities. It provides for a lot of aeration and breakdown and release of nutrients over time, but I just don't think it's the right move, the right medium for this kind of plant. So I'm sorry this series was very unsuccessful and quite boring. Didn't really have any viewership in the beginning, and I just let it languish for a really long time, but I could really be using this pot for something else, and I've decided to start a new growing series. So I'm going to mix in a lot more clay dirt and mix in this existing clay dirt with the top layer after I scoop out a few handfuls of this potting mix to reduce the concentration of that stuff on the top. I just don't think it's very good for growing a variety of plants that I've been growing. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned.